could do like Zoom or whatever, set them up.
I thought about it, but, you know, they might not be available to watch it at that point. Okay, we are going to talk about determinants and inverses today. Now, I don't know if you remember a determinant. It's been a while, but you've had it before. If I have a matrix that's 4, 2, -3, and 1, and I want to know the determinant of this matrix, what happens is I have like just parallel lines. It almost looks like absolute values. But when it shows you that, then what you're going to do is you're going to multiply and then you're going to subtract. And the determinant is a 1, it's a number that represents that matrix. Now, do you remember that? Okay,
Yeah.
this times this, which is 4,
Oh.
this times this, which is -6, and I subtract.
Okay.
Okay, and that gives me the 10. Now, there is a way to do it on your calculator as well. This is what we call a second order determinant. We did in Algebra 2, we did a second order determinant and we did a third order determinant, okay? Now this is gonna have more reaching effects in the future, so we gotta learn to do it, and then I'm gonna show you how you're gonna use it, okay? Your third order, well, let me make sure you can do a second order. Do the determinant of that. Yes, no, maybe.
I thought the 70
This times this,
Oh.
which is 70,
Right.
minus this times this, which is 8.
I made 70 negative.
Oh, no, a negative times a negative is positive. Okay, those careless mistakes are killing me here. Okay, so do y'all remember doing that?
No.
You don't?
I don't either.
Okay. You might, because you've got to be able to do this to be able to find the inverse of a matrix. And the inverse of a matrix we used in math, okay? Let me give you one more and then we'll go on to third order. Third order you might remember better than the second order. Find the determinant of that.
Instead of third order. Wait,
No, this is still a second order. This is
Oh,
still a
I was
second
like-
order. You do it the same way, okay? I want to make sure you can do this one before we go on. Okay? All right, third order. There's 2 different ways to do the third order. The book teaches you one way. We emphasize the other way when we learned it in Algebra 2. I don't know why the book only teaches this. Expansion of minors. Okay? When we talked about that, I told you it reminded me of a baseball team for some reason. And so the expansion of minors to me is the more complicated way to do it, but for some reason your pre-cal book only teaches that way. So I'm going to teach you the way the pre-cal book does, then I'm going to remind you of the other way, which we learned in Algebra 2. We learned both ways in Algebra 2. Let's say that I have a third order matrix. Okay, third order just means it's a 3 by 3. Alright, there's a pattern here. The way the pattern is I take the number up in my very top left corner, -4. Then I multiply it by the expansion of the determinant of the expansion of its minors. So that means I'm going to block out the row and the column that it's a part of. And I'm going to find the determinant of -1, 4, 3, and -3. Then I'm going to go on to the next one. And I'm going to subtract, and it's going to be the next number times the expansion of its minors. So I mark out the row and the column that -6 is in, and I'm going to write the numbers left. 5, -2, 3, and -3. Then I'm going to add the third number times the expansion of its minors. So I mark out that row, that column. So I have 5, -2, -1, and 4, and I'm like out of room here. But now I've got to go back and find the determinant of that. Now remember, that's what we were just doing. So I have 3 minus 12, okay? You with me on that one? I have -15 minus a -6, and then I have 20 plus 2, all right? So 3 minus -12 is going to give me a -9, so I have -4 times -9, which is 36. Then I come over here, I'm going to add the opposite of the second number, so I have 6 times, I'm going to add the opposite of the second number there, so 6 times -9, which is going to give me a -54. So far so good? Then I have 2 times 22, which is going to give me a 44. When I add these together, I'm going to get a -10 from those two that I'm going to add to the 36. So I'm going to get a +26 is my determinant. Do you remember that at all?
Vaguely, yeah.
Vaguely, okay.
Starting to.
I think when I show you the other way, you're going to remember the other way, because I think you both chose to do it the other way when they gave you the choice, but we'll see. We'll see. All right, let's try another one.
Did we even do this in algebra 2?
Yeah.
Did we? Oh,
Yeah.
never mind.
Yeah, that's where you hit it, is algebra 2. There's an entire chapter on the matrices in algebra 2. Okay, so there's my determinant. It's a third order determinant, and I'm going to do this by expansion of minors. I grab the first number. Then I find the determinant of its expansion of minors, which means I expand that out and I take what's left. Then it's minus, that's the pattern. I do that second number. And I'm going to do the expansion of its minus, which means I mark out the row it's in, I mark out the column it's in, and then I take the numbers that are left. It's always nice when there's a 0 in there, okay? Then it's plus, so it's subtraction, then it's plus. Then I take the third number and I do the expansion of its minors. So -2, -10, 4, and 2. Are we understanding where I'm getting the numbers from? Okay, so then I have 0 minus 12. I have 0 minus a -60. And I have 4 minus -40. Okay? Come down here, I'm going to have 4 times a -12, which is going to give me a -48 right here. Going to add the opposite of the second number there, so it's 4 times, that's going to be a +60, so I'm going to have 240. And then I have 5 times, that's going to be a +44, which I don't know what that is. 220.
Wait, so with the 240, that's,
That one came from oh, wait a minute. Why did I do that? It should be 120, shouldn't it?
I think you said 4 times 60.
Yeah, I don't know where the 4 came from. I'm making it up, I guess. Okay, so 2 times 60 should be 120. So then I've got 220 plus 120 minus 48. So 292. Okay, all right, I'm gonna give you one to try, all right?
And it's minus and plus?
It's minus and then plus, that's the pattern.
I'm gonna put like plus and something on it too.
The painful thing on this one is if like you forget a negative, it totally messes the whole thing up. Once you start on it, I'm gonna do it up there. What you got? Uh-oh.
Oh, 260? Wait, let's see.
Wouldn't it be? Because this is, you're gonna add those two, so that's gonna be 52 when you add them, because you have a double negative.
Let me go up and see. Yeah, so 5 times 28 plus 24. I mean, you could plug that into the calculator.
Well,
like
then,
that.
if you're gonna do it like that, you'd have to do distributed property. Did you put parentheses
Oh.
around that?
No.
If you did, okay, that's what happened then. Because then you did 5 times 28 plus 24, and that's not
Yeah.
what it is.
Okay.
It's 5 times whatever the answer to that is.
Okay.
Okay, now I'm going to show you the other way is diagonals. Okay, now I think you're going to remember the diagonals more. If we do it right, we should get the same answer. Okay? To do this is the determinant, third order determinant by diagonals. Now, what we would do is we would recopy the first 2 columns. okay? And then you're going to diagonal up. Let me do another color. I'm gonna multiply all those together. I'm gonna multiply all those together. I'm gonna multiply all those together. That's the first thing that I'm gonna do, okay? So I've got 20 times 7, which is 140, and I'm adding in between each of these. Then I have 0. Then I'm gonna have, that's gonna be a positive 18, because I have positive 3 times 6. Okay, so that's gonna give me 158, okay? Then I'm gonna do the same thing, doing the diagonals going down. 0, and that's gonna give me a negative 120. And that's gonna give me whatever 42 times 3 is, positive 126. When I add these, I'm gonna get a 6 down here. Then I'm gonna subtract this minus this, and it's gonna give me 152. I think that's the easiest way.
I remember that.
You remember that way, and I probably emphasize that way more, because to me, when I compare doing those two ways, this one's way easier, I think. Vivian, you with me as far as what I did? Okay, I just recopied the first 2 columns. Then, okay, so this, I recopied there.
Okay.
This, I recopied there. If I don't do that, I don't have 3 numbers to be able to do the diagonals. Okay, so then I diagonal up and multiply. 7 times 4 times 5, that's 140. Then 0 times 3, 8 times 3 is 0. Negative 3 times 6 times negative 1 is positive 18.
And you started on the 3rd number and went diagonal.
It doesn't matter what order you do it.
Okay.
Okay, now you're gonna go up to that corner.
Oh,
Okay.
I see what you're saying.
You're gonna go up and up. Then you're gonna go down to this corner. Okay, so negative 1, 4, and 0, when I multiply together, I get 0. 5, 8, and negative 3 is going to give me negative 120 when I multiply those. And then 3, 6, and 7 is 126. I add, get a number. Add, get a number. Then I subtract those numbers. Subtract.
Okay.
Okay? So it's multiply, add, subtract. All right, let's do another one. To me, that's way easier.
Yeah.
But for some reason, your pre-calc book doesn't even mention that. I don't know why. Okay? All right, we did this one by expansion of minors. I think we might not have. But I want you to do it by diagonals. And make sure I got all the positives and negatives right first, though. Okay, I think so. All right, find the determinant of that by diagonals.